All right, on to immigration now. And the detention centers holding undocumented immigrant children have gained attention recently over concern of conditions inside, as well as the limited access to them from journalists and from lawmakers, really. This video was released by the government showing inside of a detention center in Homestead, Florida. Our Mark Strassmann just took a tour of that facility where lawmakers were previously denied access. And he's joining us now. Mark.
Hey, Vlad and Marie.
Hi. So you were able to get in there. We saw some of the approved of video, which is, what's been happening with the government. They've been sending video out that they approve of and allowing journalists limited access when they do. So what did you see on your tour?
Well, we're inside for about hour 15, an escorted tour, a couple of restrictions. We're not allowed to walk around on our own. We're not allowed to talk to kids. A couple of facts that you want to know. There are about 1,200 kids in here, 2 to 1 boys to girls. Most of them come here within 72 hours after, if they're caught crossing the border, this is where they end up. Officials here take great pains to say that this is an emergency shelter, not a detention center. Inside, there are dorms, classrooms. It's like a very rough-looking community college. But it was very clean, it was very orderly, and it did seem as though the kids were, by and large, in good moods. They waving, smiling, but again, we weren't allowed to talk to them. Of the 1,200 kids, the vast majority were caught trying to come to the U.S. on their own, unaccompanied minors. There are about 70 of the 1,200 kids who were separated from their families, and of course, those are the kids that are in a state of legal limbo right now. Obviously, we couldn't tell when we were walking around which kid was one of those 70, but they were not identified to us. There is a case management office that we saw, about 15 workers in front of phones and computers who are attempting to reach out to reunite these kids with their families. But if their families are in a detention facility themselves, how those kids get to their families is a little bit unclear. The vast majority of kids here, about 85%, are eventually reunited with a parent, a family member, a family friend. The others go into what amounts to a sponsor family or a sort of a foster family, and it may be that is where these 70 kids will end up if they cannot either identify the families, their parents, or if they can identify the parents, but the parents themselves are in detention. Have not heard of Vlad and Anne-Marie that they are going to take kids from here and put them in with their parents in a separate detention facility. I don't think that's going to be the case.
So, Mark, we keep showing video that's been provided to us by the government, by the facility, and I know that they don't allow journalists to take photos. They don't allow you to talk to the kids. It seems as if most of the kids are a little bit older than some of the other stories that we've been hearing about toddlers, and this doesn't seem to apply to what has been called, I guess, a tender care facility. Did you see?
I should have mentioned that, Vlad. All the kids here are between 13 and 17.
Got it.
13 and 17. These are all older kids. And by and large, as I say, they came here on their own, 2 to 1, males to females. Not surprising, since this can be a dangerous trip to go to undertake, and most of those are boys. The boys and girls are separated here. They don't, they sleep in different buildings. They eat separately. They go to classes separately. But again, it is older teenagers here, not the young kids that have been the focus of so much attention.
And did they talk about just how long they expect these kids to be in this detention center?
In the system, Anne-Marie, it's about 57 days is the average. Here, they say it's 25 days. But remember, this facility just reopened March 29th. I'm not sure it's been reopened long enough to establish a more typical track record where you can say, okay, on average, it's X number of days before the kids transition from being under the care and custody of the U.S. government to being placed somewhere else, whether it's with a family or with a sponsor. So that is a little bit unclear. What I can tell you is this: inside was clean, it was orderly, it appeared safe. The vast majority of kids looked happy. Again, I'm just going on first impressions. We weren't allowed to talk to anybody, and again, we were only inside for an hour, and we were always escorted But, you know, there have been some comparisons that this is like going to summer camp or boarding school. Again, safe, clean, orderly, but camps don't have fences around them. Campers don't show up on the first day and be told what their legal rights are. Campers know when the camp is going to end. They know what home they're going to go to next when it's over. And for the vast majority of kids here, there is so much uncertainty. All they know is that they're in a new country. They're under the care of people they don't know. And now they seem reasonably safe and content here. But of course, over time, they will get more restless.
All right, Mark Strassmann reporting for us from Homestead, Florida. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it as always.